Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JC, and welcome back to my channel once again. And today we're going to be talking about something that's extremely exciting for the Call of Duty series, and that is the idea of a game called Call of Duty World War II. Yep, that is the title. That is what a lot of people think the next Call of Duty game is right now. Apparently it got leaked, and there's been a bunch of box art that's been leaked. There's been a bunch of posters that have been leaked. And all in all, the leak looks very, very credible. It came from the same guy who leaked Infinite Warfare last year, I believe. So in the most likely scenario, the next Call of Duty game this year by Sledgehammer Games is going to be taking the franchise back to its roots, back to where it originally began in World War II. So me being a Call of Duty fan and just seeing this series sort of drag on and drop from where it used to be, just in terms of how great and how amazing the series was back in the day, something like this is honestly a really, really awesome breath of fresh air for this series, in my opinion. And I wanted to give you guys 3 reasons why I think this game could possibly reinvigorate or save the Call of Duty franchise. Because let's be real here, if this next game isn't good, if this next game is horrible or trash or messes up in some big way, just the same way that Infinite Warfare did, just the same way that Advanced Warfare did, also Call of Duty Ghosts, we can't forget Call of Duty Ghosts, what an absolute treat that was. So yeah, if this game fails just like those last 3 games I mentioned failed, then Call of Duty in general will not be looking too good, if I do say so myself. But my friend, I have hope. I have hope. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So here's 3 reasons why the Call of Duty franchise could be saved by this game called World War II. And can we talk about that for a moment here? The game itself is called World War II. It's literally like Activision is giving the biggest fan service in the world to Call of Duty players. They're like, hey, you hated exosuits, you hated the futuristic stuff, you hated everything about the technology in the future and all that. Well, here we go. We're going back to our roots and we're calling this game just World War II. So you know exactly what it is, and there is no denying what this game will be. It's Call of Duty at its classic self in the World War II era, just like how it began a long, long time ago. And of course, with that comes our first reason why this could save the Call of Duty franchise, and that is, of course, boots on the ground movement. Now, this has been a topic of discussion for years now, ever since Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare, I remember when it was coming out, a lot of people were extremely excited for it. I know I was. I thought it was going to be something that would sort of revolutionize COD and make it better and evolve COD in a new way. So I don't necessarily hate them for trying to improve COD and trying to invigorate it with something new, because at the time, I remember when Ghosts came out and we had all these games just coming out so fast. When Advanced Warfare said they were doing something new with exosuits, that looked really promising, because the thing that most people complained about a ton back in the day with COD is that it was the same thing over and over. That was the biggest complaint every single year, 100%, that it was the same game every single year. So what did Activision do? They tried to push Sledgehammer to make a new movement system for Call of Duty. They tried to push Call of Duty in a new direction and evolve it in a sense. But the problem with that is that they started off doing it wrong. If Black Ops 3 would have been the first game to do the movement system, I think the entire look on exosuits and the entire look on advanced movement would be a lot better for the series. But instead, we had Advanced Warfare, which did a terrible job in terms of control on actually using those movement systems. It just felt clunky. It didn't feel right at all. It was from 0 to 100. There wasn't anything in between. You pressed the button, you went wham. You didn't have a controlled movement. You had a just 0 to 100, boom. You're flying across the map like Superman. So all in all, exo movement ever since Advanced Warfare has had a horrible taste in many people's mouths. And just honestly, I'm really excited for this game, World War II, if it is real, which, I mean, who am I kidding? It is real. We all know it is. But yeah, one of the most promising things about Sledgehammer going back to the World War II setting is that we won't have exosuits anymore. We'll go back to that classic style movement that we know and love. And if I'm honest, I think I would like to see maybe the slide stay in the Call of Duty movement system, because I feel like without the slide, it would just feel kind of weird just to prone straight down and do nothing else. I've always liked the slide in Black Ops 3. I love sliding around in zombies, so I would like that to stay maybe. Just keep the movement in a sense of how Black Ops 3 Zombies works in terms of movement, and I think we're all good on that front. So we have basically just normal jumping, no thrust jump, nothing like that, but we do have a slide, and I'll be fine. I'll be 100% perfect with this game. For a lot of people, having classic movement is a dream come true, and I do not disagree with that at all. I think that alone for the multiplayer guys out there is enough to get a lot of the original audience back for Call of Duty, because so many people got sick of this advanced movement stuff way early on with Advanced Warfare, and then with Black Ops 3 as well. And honestly, right now, I am 100% on board with Activision going this route and giving us classic style movement again, because that's just, I mean, that they're listening to the fans. They're finally listening to the fans. I mean, they're also listening to sales, but they are listening to us, which is good. It's awesome. Now, the second reason why this game could save the Call of Duty franchise is because not only does it take the movement back to its classic roots, but this game should also take the player back to a classic style story. And what do I mean by this? Well, if you look at the Call of Duty series in terms of their campaigns from the very beginning to how they are now, they're completely different now in how they're structured. You weren't a Black Ops operative back in the day. You weren't a special task force manager that has all these crazy and unique gadgets and goes on these secret missions throughout the world. You didn't have these superhuman, almost Master Chief-like abilities. You didn't have these super meta-human strength abilities that you do in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. You were a soldier, just a soldier. That was it. Just one man on the front lines of a war that was bigger than himself. Back in the day, your character didn't even talk in Call of Duty. Back in the day, your character wasn't this amazing general or this amazing agent that took down hundreds of people at once. Back in the day, you just played as a private in World War II. You just played as just a new recruit in Call of Duty. If you remember Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, you played as the new guy, Soap. He was just the new recruit. That's how it was. You played as the new guy who wasn't the best at everything, that you were just seeing the front lines of the war as a casual soldier going to battle, as just one man and one man only responding to the call of duty. That's what the series originally was all about. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the Black Ops series and the WW2 campaign were horrible and that they were trash and that they didn't resonate at all, because in fact, I think Black Ops 1 is the best campaign that Call of Duty ever had. But that's not what I'm saying. The point is, to return the franchise back to how it originally was, this is the smartest way to do so. Having a game like this in World War II should not empower the player like Call of Duty does now. It constantly empowers the player and makes them feel like the ultimate god of killing everything. It won't be like that, or at least I hope not. It should be just about telling a story about a couple of guys, a couple of soldiers in a squad just trying to fight the most deadly war that the world has ever experienced. If this game wants to succeed, it needs to tell a tale of hopelessness, of hardships. You shouldn't feel like a one-man army. You should feel like somebody who's overwhelmed. Instead of being empowered, you should feel underpowered in a sense. And this brings me to my third point on how this game could hopefully save the franchise, and that's just seeing World War II in this way. Seeing World War II again in the Call of Duty series is something that I've been sort of wish-washy about, because I've constantly been thinking about this in my head, and I'm like, would it be a good idea for them to do a World War II game? Because they used to do that all the time. And remember, Call of Duty sort of broke ground and became such a successful franchise like it is today because it went away from World War II. It stopped making World War II games. And that's when the series took off and skyrocketed. So like I said, I've been pretty much debating in my head whether or not it's a good idea for them to just go back and make another World War II game just like they used to do a long time ago. And now that I think about it, I've been thinking about it a lot now for about a day now. And at first I was like, well, they're sort of retreading old ground. We'll probably see things in this game that we saw in other Call of Duty games at some point. But at the same time though, seeing World War II in 2017, in a 2017 game would be absolutely amazing. Because when you think about it, we haven't had an actual World War II game since World at War in 2008. That's almost a decade ago. And remember, World at War, I think, is probably the best World War II game ever made. So just imagine the details and the environment and the war that they could put into this game now that it's 10 years later from World at War. I mean, literally, there's so many opportunities here to make just the perfect World War II game, just to create an insanely graphical masterpiece that highlights the horrors of World War II, that I don't see them passing up this chance at all. I mean, it would be awesome, and I would love to see how this game looks in 2017. Because when I think about World War II Call of Duty, I think of stuff like World at War, I think of stuff like Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 2, etc. And those are old games now. I don't really have a picture in my head of what a modern day World War II Call of Duty would look like. And I'm extremely excited to see what that looks like. If they play it right and they use the technology that we have today with games and really highlight the gruesomeness of World War II and really bring the player back, like I said with my second point, to just being a normal soldier in a war, just responding to the Call of Duty. And then as well, just having classic movement and having all of that back into one game. I mean, you're looking at basically the perfect incarnation of what Call of Duty was known for, but on today's engines and on today's video game scale. And that's why I think this game has a very good chance of being successful. Now, there's a bunch of things that could screw up in the long run. We could have microtransactions out the wazoo, and that could really destroy the multiplayer on this game. But I really, really hope the multiplayer as well is really dark and has really cool maps that just capture the feel of World War II at the utmost that it could. I've always loved World War II. It's always been one of my favorite settings in history to learn about. So it's gonna be really cool seeing this in just an awesome new way this year. And as well, there might be a chance that quite possibly, and this is gonna be really weird if it happens, but for those of you who don't know, the original zombies in Call of Duty, when we were playing zombies back in the day, we didn't call it Call of Duty Zombies. We didn't call it zombies. We got online on our 360s or whatever you played on, and we were like, hey, you want to play some Nazi zombies? That's what the mode was called back in the day. So I'm really intrigued to see if Sledgehammer does something like Nazi zombies again. If they do a mode and they call it Nazi zombies, I'm just gonna be like, yep. You are really trying to hit every single note that a Call of Duty fan loved. But yeah, I want you guys to tell me in the comments below what you guys think about this news of the next Call of Duty game. Do you think this game has a chance of saving the franchise in the long run? Or do you think the game is doomed to fail because we will have microtransactions again? That's pretty much a gimme. And not only that, but this is Sledgehammer, and Sledgehammer did introduce microtransactions to begin with, and the exosuit movement, which everybody hated, and they didn't really do a lot of things right in Advanced Warfare. So hopefully this game is good. I'm hoping for the best, but like I said before, tell me in the comments below what you guys think about it, and I'll be sure to read your comments at some point on another video. This has been me, JC, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one, guys.